even just tummy time in general, so lying on the stomach is really important. What that does is it opens up the hip flexors. So very common in patients in wheelchairs, they obviously spend a lot of time in that seated position, so those hip flexors become very short. So spasms in the hips and the lower back becomes very, very common. So yeah, just lying on the stomach gives a good stretch, and yeah, just sort of releases those muscles there. From this position here, we're going to take Andy's one leg. Okay, so from this position, basically we want the hips to stay nice and level. It's not the best bed for Andy because obviously it's not that comfortable on the face. So that's why we're lying at a bit of an angle here. But a bit of pressure on the hip, that's going to keep it nice and square. And then very slowly, we're bringing the heel up to the bum. Like I mentioned before, Andrew is very flexible, whereas some patients, they'll start to be sore from about here, whereas Andrew can really go all the way down. And this is just to stretch out those thighs, your quad muscles. Again, sitting in the wheelchair, those muscles become very short, become very tense. So it's just a nice way to release that muscle as well. Okay, we're going to bring it all the way down. All right, so now what you're going to do, you're going to lift that leg up slightly off the floor. I like to rest it between my knees just to give me some leverage. Again, keeping that pressure on the hip. And now, again, slowly starting to bring that heel towards the bum. And relax there. So all of these stretches on the stomach are all fairly similar. So they all have the main goal of stretching out the hip flexors and the quads. Like I said, prolonged sitting time in the chair can be really, it just tenses up those quads and the hip flexors, and just leads to really uncomfortable spasms in the lower back and the hip flexors as well. So these stretches that we've just run through now, you can pretty much do them every single day. Like I said, ideally you're holding each stretch for 20 to 30 seconds per stretch, obviously repeating on both sides of the body. And there's no harm in doing too much stretching. So ideally we're looking for every single day, but 4 times a week plus is awesome. From now, typically we would go into our muscle strengthening routine. So our warm-up would typically be a side foot, getting the arms and the legs going. Then we go into our stretching routine, and now we're going to go to our exercises.